There is a place where you can always go. Come with me, where it's all right to let your feelings show. Come with me, what a pleasant journey, isn't very far. We can go together, stay right where you are. And now it's time to start. It's right here in your heart. There is a place where you can be yourself. Come with me. It's a place where you can free yourself. Come with me. And you know it's waiting, not so far away. Need no reservations, we could go today. Now it's time to start. It's right here in your heart. And the light.
the ballad of Martin Luther King. Come gather round me, people. I got a song to sing about the life and legends of a man called Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King was born to a sharecropper's son. All the bigots hated him, he never owned a gun. Now sing together. And I've been to the mountaintop, today I have a dream. Don't you ever forget the words of Martin Luther King. At the bus line in Montgomery, had some folks sitting in the back. Wasn't a coincidence that all these people were black. Martin Luther King put a boycott on that town. He marched with our people, he closed that bus line down. And I've been to the mountaintop, today I have a dream. Don't you ever forget the words of Martin Luther King. And I've been to the mountaintop, today I have a dream. Don't you ever forget the words of Martin Luther King. He preached to live nonviolence until his very end. On a hotel balcony in Memphis, mankind lost its best friend. He fought for human rights as he rode from town to town. And that's what he was doing in Memphis when some sick man shot him down. And I've been to the mountaintop, today I have a dream. Don't you ever forget the words of Martin Luther King. And I've been to the mountaintop, today I have a dream. Don't you ever forget the words of Martin Luther King. Now it's time for you to take a look at that mirror on that wall. Did you pull the trigger? Were you there at all? And there's a sickness in this nation, and it seems to me obviously clear. To kill a man with hate because he would not die from fear. And I've been to the mountaintop, today I have a dream. Don't you ever forget the words of Martin Luther King. And I've been to the mountaintop, today I have a dream. Don't you ever forget the words of Martin Luther King.
Thank you, Angela, and thank you, Mitch, for opening us. And good morning to everybody who's here in the building and everybody who's watching from home. This beautiful day and this very meaningful weekend, it's great to be together. I am Mary Jo tonight as your platform assistant today, and I'm also a trustee in this church. And on behalf of our spiritual director, Reverend Barb, and all of our members, I welcome you here today. Each and every one of us make up the spiritual presence that is the energy and the being of Rochester Unity Spiritual Center, and we do thank you for being here. Every Sunday, we come together to celebrate our unity, our oneness in, with, and as expressions of the holy presence we call God, consciousness, divine mind, divine intelligence. We enfold in light and love all people and all spiritual gatherings around the world, And that's a very basic unity understanding. I'd like to especially welcome new visitors today. We have a little packet that just tells a little bit more about who we are. And there's two different ways we can share that packet with you. After the service, you can pick one up yourself in the little round table that stands in the corner of the room. Or if you would raise your hand now, an usher will gladly bring you that packet. And in it is a little blue card that we ask new-time visitors to fill out and return to a prayer chaplain or put it in the collection basket so that we can get to know who you are. So welcome. I have one more little piece of business today. We're trying out a little transition in our order of service. So today, after Mitch leads us through the meditation, instead of going right to the offering, we're going to transition to the prayer of protection, so that after we've had a time of personal communion within, we then reaffirm that same union as a whole without. And after that, then we'll move to the offering, and then we'll have the announcements, and then our final circle. So let us know what you think. Right now, I'd like us to just get still and take this time to move within. Dearest Creator, we now open our minds and hearts to you as we turn our attention away from external conditions and appearances and joyously seek your presence within. We come knowing that where two or more are gathered in your name, power and love are present. We come for joy, for peace, for the affirmation of our oneness with you and with all creation. And we come with gratitude for each other, in whom and with whom we recognize our Christ self. We thank you for the natural world, for art, music, movement, poetry, spiritual teachers, and all the many avenues and gifts that awaken our soul. We are here because of the inevitable longing in the hearts of all humanity to be home. And we enfold everyone in this present moment of grace. Amen. And one of our prayer chaplains will now bring up the prayer box. Thank you, Carol. In the prayer box are letters of gratitude and also requests for prayer, and our prayer chaplains, who can be recognized by the stole around their necks and down in front of them, pray for all of these petitions that are in the box, and they are also sent to Silent Unity, where they are held for 30 days in prayer, 24 hours a day. Anyone can put a little whatever you'd like to in the box. There are little slips of paper back there in the back, and after the service, the prayer box will be returned to that spot. Knowing that someone is praying for us encourages us to believe that good is unfolding in our life. And this helps to turn us away from worry and opens us to gratitude, which makes room for the highest good to manifest. And I think now we're going to move to our daily word, which we're lucky to have Rudra DaCosta reading today.
Good morning. World peace. As I affirm world peace, I help create a peaceful world. In 1964, Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. said, "It is not enough to say, we must not wage war. It is necessary to love peace and sacrifice for it." We must concentrate not merely on the negative expulsion of war, but the positive affirmation of peace. Of course, I will work toward creating the kind of world I wish to see, investing my effort and energy into ending conflict, discrimination, and other kinds of negativity. But I also put my energy into creating harmony, cooperation, and other positive outcomes. Today, I affirm that peace is dawning all over the world, blessing all people with warm feelings of cooperation and togetherness. I affirm that peace is here, even as I strive to create it. 1 Thy Holy Essence 5:23. May the God of peace himself sanctify you entirely, and may your spirit and soul and body be kept sound.
Thank you, Rudra. And let's turn now to the Lord's Prayer. Our Creator, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And leave us not in temptation, but deliver us from error. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Thank you.
There was a time in my life I thought I had to do it all for myself, and I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient, and I didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged and you're struggling just to make it through another day, you've gotta let it go. Let it all go. And this is what you have to say. I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. 'Cause I'm only here for God. No more struggles, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am here in the Spirit. 'Cause I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let go.
I let go.
I let the Spirit run my
Let
life.
that Spirit run my life.
And my heart is open wide.
Open wide.
'Cause I'm only here for God.
Feel free
No
to
more
stand up
struggles,
and just
no
let
more
go. Let
With my
the
faith,
Spirit
I
run
see
my
the
life.
light. I breathe in the Spirit. 'Cause I'm only here for God. Again, I release and I let go.
I let
I
go.
let the Spirit
Let
run
that
my life.
Spirit run my
And
life.
my heart is open wide. 'Cause I'm only here for God.
Wow, could we be more blessed this morning? And actually, the blessings continue. Our speaker this morning is our own Mitchell, who is not only a member of this community, but he is a scholar, a teacher, and what is very dear to me is this is a person who's not only highly invested in the study of truth, but also the experience of truth and light within his personal self and within the universal manifestation of that. So, Mitch, we're glad to have you here today.
Thank you. All right, let's start with the denial and affirmation. So say together with me, nothing can stand in the way of God's love expressing through me. And the affirmation, love is the key that unlocks the door to ultimate reality. I am God's love in action, bringing forth the beloved community. Let's read the affirmation one more time. Love is the key that unlocks the door to ultimate reality. I am God's love in action, bringing forth the beloved community. Welcome, beloved community. Brothers, sisters, and siblings. Today we gather, as we often do, in the awareness that one presence and one power, God the good, lives in, through, and as each of us. From this shared spiritual ground, we remember that truth is something we're called to express in the present through our thoughts, through our words, and through our actions. As Emerson said, actions are a kind of words, and words are a kind of action. The light in me beholds the light in you. And it's good to be here with you today. Today we remember the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, who on August 28th, 1963, delivered what historians widely regard as the most powerful speech of the 20th century. We know it today as the I Have a Dream speech. And yet those words, I have a dream, were actually never part of Reverend King's prepared text. The soaring conclusion about every valley being lifted, every hill and mountain made low, was not written in his notes. It's from Isaiah, actually. The ringing call to let freedom ring was not in his script. There was no mention in his prepared remarks of the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slaveholders sitting together at the table of brotherhood. No reference to little black boys and girls joining hands with little white boys and girls as sisters and brothers. But sitting nearby as Reverend King spoke was Mahalia Jackson, the gospel singer. And what we now know is that about 12 minutes into the address, she called out to him, "Tell them about the dream, Martin." And then she said it again, "Tell them about the dream, Doctor." And in that moment, Reverend King set aside his prepared speech and stepped into the words that the world would never forget. The instant Reverend King turned from his own carefully prepared remarks to the dream that God had placed in his heart, he moved from being a great preacher to becoming a great prophet. That is that knowledge versus wisdom thing that Mary Jo was hinting at earlier. And so in the same instance, when we open ourselves to the words that God is speaking to us, we too become transformed from a people divided by race into a people committed to justice and equality for all. And we give thanks for the words that Reverend King continues to call us from beyond the grave, continues to shape us and help us become a better nation. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside let freedom ring. And if America is to be a great nation, this must become true. From every mountainside let freedom ring. And when this happens, and when we allow freedom to ring, when we let it ring from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of that old spiritual, free at last, thank God Almighty, we're free at last. But there's something seductively tempting about remembering Martin Luther King Jr. only as a dreamer. To recall the soaring lines, the marches, and yes, the victories. One, it allows us to believe that the struggle is safely behind us. But Reverend King would not let us stop there. Recall that the fifth unity principle reminds us through thoughts, words, and actions, we give our best and we live the truth we know. So we're called to live the truth, to be mighty channels of divine justice. And towards the end of his life, Reverend King spoke truths far more chemicalizing than the soaring, "I have a dream" speech. Reverend King pointed out in 1967, very shortly before his death, that if we address only surface problems, we find ourselves organizing clergy and layman concern committees for the next generation, marching for these and a dozen other names, and attending rallies without end, until there's a significant and profound change in American life and policy. So Reverend King reminded us that endless marches for justice may affect some temporary change. But if the deeper spiritual malady is not addressed, these marches won't have a lasting effect. When marches and computers, when machines and computers, he says, when machines and computers, profit motives and property rights are considered more important than people, the giant triplets of racism, extreme materialism, and militarism are incapable of being conquered. Charles Fillmore concurred with this when he wrote during World War I. Every experienced metaphysical healer knows that permanent healing is never accomplished until the mental cause of the disease is removed. Then the true way to heal the thing is to find the cause and forever put the thing out of commission. And again, this aligns with King's conviction that we are called to play the Good Samaritan on life's roadside, but that will only be an initial act. One day we must come to see that the whole Jericho road must be transformed so that men and women will not be constantly beaten and robbed as they make their journey on life's highway. True compassion is more than flinging a coin to a beggar. It comes to see that an edifice which produces beggars needs restructuring. But Charles Fillmore argued that such restructuring is more than just redistributing wealth and rearranging authority. He says all the money in the world might be equally distributed, but if selfishness and ignorance of truth continue to rule, it would not be long until some men would again have more than others. If those who now have but little could exchange places with the men of wealth, they in turn would become oppressors. The same mental states will always produce the same conditions. But Reverend King identified a way out of this vicious cycle, actually. He called it a radical revolution of values, saying we must rapidly begin the shift from a thing-oriented society to a person-oriented society. And Fillmore concurred, writing on the eve of World War I. Christ is the Prince of Peace, but he cannot rule in the hearts of men and nations so long as they cling to false ideas. The idea that certain families are born by divine right to rule other families of less royal blood must be destroyed before the kingdom of Christ can be set up in the earth. And Fillmore identifies a secret weapon in this radical revolution of values, where he writes, "Where in Jesus' teachings shall we find a formula to offset, to dissolve, to meet and nullify the atomic bomb? We find it in the 10th chapter of Luke and the 22nd chapter of Matthew. This is the formula. Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy strength, and with all thy mind, and love thy neighbor as thyself." This is the greatest and first commandment. And Fillmore continues, "Therefore we must look deeper and lay hold of the law of love and unify ourselves with it. Love is the great unifier, and when the whole human family are united in love, no one will lack, and there will be no soldiers nor warships, no strife, no contention. Every knee must bow to the Prince of Peace. Jesus Christ must be held up as a standard, and all our ideas must be unified with his ideas. Do not allow any opposing, clashing thought toward anybody or anything to work in you. If you do, it will separate you from friends and finances." And King harmonized with this when he said, a genuine revolution of values means, in the final analysis, that our loyalties must become ecumenical rather than sectional. Every nation must now develop an overriding loyalty to mankind as a whole in order to preserve the best in their individual societies. This calls for a worldwide fellowship that lifts neighborly concern beyond one's tribe, race, class, and nation. Is in reality a call for an all-embracing and unconditional love for all mankind. When I speak of love, I'm not speaking of some sentimental and weak response. This is important. I'm not speaking of that force which is just emotional bosh. I'm speaking of that force which all of the great religions have seen as the supreme unifying principle of life. Love is somehow the key that unlocks the door which leads to ultimate reality. I'll say that again. Love is somehow the key which unlocks the door which leads to ultimate reality. This Hindu, Muslim, Christian, Jewish, Buddhist belief about ultimate reality is beautifully summed up in the first epistle of St. John. Let us love one another, for love is God. And everyone that loveth is born of God and knoweth God. He that loveth not knoweth not God, for God is love. If we love one another, God dwelleth in us, and his love is perfected in us. Let us hope that this spirit will become the order of the day. So the question before us is not whether King was right. History's already answered that. The question is whether we will continue his work. How will we honor this national hero, Reverend King, on this 250th year of this bold, democratic, revolutionary, but still profoundly flawed and unfinished republic? Will we settle for admiration without imitation? Will we quote his words while resisting their implications? Or will we allow love to reorganize our priorities, our principles, our labors, and our relationships? Will we affirm in thought, in prayer, and in action the powerful force of peace that has the power to offset, to dissolve, to meet, and nullify even the atomic bomb? In these dark and demanding times, it's important to recognize how easily frustration, fear, and exhaustion can spill into our relationships with one another. Often the pressures of the world manifest themselves in ways that we don't mean for them to. In our tone, in our patience, our assumption, our willingness to listen or lack thereof. But the work of the beloved community begins with refusing to let the weight of the times harden our hearts. Reverend King taught that love is a force of strength. Living that love today means practicing kindness towards strangers, knowing that they may be carrying burdens we cannot see. It means getting along with our neighbors, building relationships where trust can grow, and tending communities of care where people feel supported rather than isolated. We do not need to wait for the beloved community because it's right here, right now. It looks like being kind to strangers when it would be easier to retreat into suspicion. We're called to get along with our neighbors and to support one another in tangible ways. In Leviticus 19:34, it says, "The foreigner residing among you must be treated as your native born. Love them as yourself, for you were foreigners in Egypt." America itself is a long procession of arrivals. We are a people shaped by journeys taken in hope, fear, and faith. Our ancestors crossed oceans, borders, and generations carrying little more than the belief that a future could be made, whether they came here voluntarily or not. To turn on today's immigrants is to forget yesterday's prayers that this land is a nation of nations, renewed again and again by those who come seeking home. Martin Luther King was fond of citing the parable of the Good Samaritan to describe how we should guide our society and ourselves. He says, "I imagine that the first question the priest and Levite asked was, 'If I stop to help this man, what will happen to me?' But by the very nature of his concern, the Good Samaritan reversed the question, 'If I do not stop to help this man, what will happen to him?' The man left to die on Jericho Road was an Israelite, like the two passers-by, co-religionists, who didn't stop to help him. His rescuer happened to be in the country and was from a territorial region despised by the Israelites." Matthew 25, verses 42 through 46 say, "For I was hungry, and you gave me nothing to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me nothing to drink. I was a stranger, and you did not invite me in. I needed clothes, and you did not clothe me. I was sick and in prison, and you did not look after me." And they answered to him, "Lord, when did we see you hungry or thirsty or a stranger or needing clothes or sick or in prison and did not help you?" He replied, "Truly I tell you, whatever you did not do for the least of these, you did not do for me." As Walt Whitman once said, "Whoever degrades another degrades me. And whatever is done or said returns at last to me." But if we make the right choice, if we choose love, not that love that is emotional bosh, but that profound, powerful force of love that has the power to offset, nullify, and meet the atom bomb, then we can still transform the jangling discords of our world into a symphony of brotherhood. But if we choose pessimism, we'll reap what we sow. But rest assured, justice is still rolling down like waters, and righteousness like a mighty stream. The kingdom Jesus proclaims is already pressing into the material present, inviting us to live now as if reconciliation, compassion, and unity are more powerful than fear, resentment, and division, because they are. When we welcome the stranger, support one another, and refuse to let bitterness harden our hearts, we participate in that present and coming reality. We become, in our limited, meaningful way, agents of a world where tears are wiped away and love has the final word. I know it seems like dark days. Love is urgently needed in these times. But I'd like to end with a message of faith from Reverend King from March 1965. I know you're asking today, how long will prejudice bind the visions of men, darken their understanding, and drive bright-eyed wisdom from her sacred throne? When will the radiant star of hope be plunged against the nocturnal bosom of this lonely night, plucked from weary souls with chains of fear and the manacles of death? How long will justice be crucified and truth bear it? I come to say to you this afternoon, however difficult the moment, however frustrating the hour, it will not be long, because truth, crushed to earth, will rise again. How long? Not long, because no lie can live forever. How long? Not long, because you shall reap what you sow. How long? Not long, because the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. And from Revelation 21:4, he will wipe out every tear from their eyes, and death will be no more. Neither will mourning, nor outcry, nor pain be any more. The former things have passed away. And so it is. Amen.
Is number 322 in our hymnal.
I am free, I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited. Right now, right now. I am free, I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited. Right now, right now. I am free, I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited. Right now, right now. I am free, I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited. Right now, right now. Now we'll practice bringing forth that dream and that beloved community Reverend King talked about. So we lower the lights, settle into a comfortable position. Let your body relax, go limp. Rest your hands gently on your lap or at your side. And just allow your eyes to close, or soften your gaze. But don't put any effort into it, just allow them to close. Now take a slow, deep breath in. Hold for 2 seconds and release. Again, breathe in peace. And breathe out any tension, any worries, cares of the day. Once more, breathe in peace and love. Breathe out any anxieties, any tensions you may have. Now, as you sit quietly, continue to focus on your breathing. Know this as you breathe. God is always speaking. God does not always speak in words, not always in noise or in sound. But God speaks in the still, small voice within your own being. Now turn your attention inward to that still, small voice. And as you take this journey inward, a vision begins to rise on the horizon. It's a dream, a promise of what is possible. And you affirm to yourself, I have a dream. A vision of freedom, of hope, of justice, and of unity. Now imagine a valley and a mountain on one side of this valley, and a smaller hill on the other side. Your vision begins to shift as this valley is raised up. The mountain on one side is made low, and the hill on the other side is also made low. And every uneven place is made level. Imagine this leveling process taking place in the land. And as this happens, every valley is exalted. Every hill and mountain are made low. The rough places are made plain. The crooked places are made straight. As you look out onto this flat plain, the glory of God is revealed. and all see it together without obstruction. With this collective faith, we hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. With this stone, we transform the jangling discords into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. Breathe into that vision in the silence. Now stay with that still small voice for a minute longer. Let the wilderness of your thoughts, crowded, restless, and overgrown, be still. If your awareness feels like a desert, barren, empty, or dry, imagine a highway opening within. Through this path, life and substance flow. The desert becomes fertile. Every valley of self-doubt, inferiority, or despair is lifted as you remember you are a child of God. Every mountain of pride, arrogance, or comparison is made low. All distinctions of somebody and nobody fall away. Feel the uneven ground beneath you become level. Let your steps be steady, sure, and confident. The rough places of your heart are smoothed by Spirit. Gently begin to return to your awareness, carrying this vision with you. Take a deep, grounding breath in and slowly release. And as you go about your week, remember in all things to keep an even mind and carry this vision of the dream. Every valley lifted, every mountain made low, and every rough place smoothed. The glory of God is revealed here and now through you. Open your eyes when you're ready. Amen.
let us sing the prayer of protection together.
The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Beautiful, thank you. As the baskets for offerings are brought up, let's hold our offering in our hand and recite together our prayer.
Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, all that I receive.
And I am grateful. We are so grateful for the abundance that you are sharing with us. And as the scripture says, may this and all your actions be shaken together, pressed down, and spilling over. For as we give, we receive in gratitude. Thank you. What a wonderful service. Thank you to everybody who has participated, our music, our daily word, and our beautiful lesson in meditation. And of course, everyone who's here. We can move to our announcements. And before I mention the announcements that are up here, I want to say also that we are reaching the time of the year when we begin thinking towards our annual meeting, which is held in March. And at that meeting, we always elect new members to our Board of Trustees. And this year, we'll be needing 2 people to fill 3-year terms and 1 person to serve a 1-year term. And that way, we always maintain 6 trustees doing a 3-year term and 1 individual doing a 1-year alternate term who also have voting rights. So there's actually 7 of us, and Reverend Barb is always part of the Board of Trustees. It's really a great fulfillment to be on the Board of Trustees, because as we address the practical concerns and also the spiritual concerns of this community, we're investing in something that is dear to each of us. I joined this church in 2005, and it has only supported and enabled me to explore and learn to listen within more deeply, allowed me to ask questions, and to feel safe and secure in that journey. And so it's really an honor to be able to help maintain this, which I feel is a very important place within our community. So I just wanted to share that. If you are interested in running for the board, the nominating committee this year is Daryl, who can raise his hand, and Tony is not here in the building today. Reverend Barb is on that committee, and Stan Marshall is on that committee. So you can speak to them, and or you can speak to any trustee, ask us about the experience or what it means to be on the board, and I'm confident we'll have another good, strong board. Okay.
You forgot the big salary that comes with the job.
Well, I was sort of keeping that hidden. So Daryl's class continues on Tuesday nights. Boy, we're so fortunate to have Daryl leading this every Tuesday. I know there's a loyal following. And I think many people participated today in Reiki, and it will be here again on February 15th and March 15th. Before the service, you can find them in the multipurpose room. Winter noon meditations, oh goody, from 12 to 12:30 on January 22nd, 29th, the 5th, the 12th, the 19th. You can see it there, and this is also in the newsletter. And after we do the final prayer for peace, our prayer chaplains will be around the sanctuary. Again, you can recognize them with their stoles, and they are here to just stand with you in whatever concern or gratitude you might wish to share with them. So let's make our final circle. Thank you.
God bless.